is tried and true. The ancient stone will stand alone when all the sifting sands of life have come and gone. You can depend on Jesus. You can depend on him. As he was yesterday, tomorrow he'll be the same. You can depend on him. Where are your friends now that the chips are down? Look high and low, they're nowhere around. When the weather's fair, they're everywhere. But Lord, when skies get cloudy, don't they disappear? It's really easy what you need to do. Just your trust in one is tried and true. He'll be your friend until the end. Oh, he's even closer than your next of kin. Yes, he is. You can depend on Jesus. You can depend on him. As he was yesterday, tomorrow he'll be the same. You can depend on him. The sun may forget to rise, and the moon may forget to glow. The stars may forget to shine, but there's one thing I know. You can depend on Jesus. Oh, you can depend on him. As he was yesterday, tomorrow he'll be the same. You can depend on him. Oh, yeah. You can depend on Jesus. You can depend on him.
Welcome to the Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions podcast with Brent Bailey. And at the tech booth, Jody Cook-Bailey and Luke Cardio. We are growing our circles of connections and knowledge together with encouraging conversations and positive communications. And now, Brent Bailey.
On what is shaping up to be probably the most boring week in American history, welcome to Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions. Hi, everybody. It's Brent Bailey. I hope you're having a great day today. It is the day before the election 2020. And in case you couldn't tell, I was being sarcastic just now. So, anyway, we got a great show planned for you today. I have the executive producer of Revival Time Radio TV in Dallas, Texas at Kenneth Copeland Ministries. He's the executive pastor at Eagle Mountain Church. He's also the executive director for all of their TV ministries at Kenneth Copeland Ministries. I've got Gene Bailey with me today, and it's going to be a great program. We're going to be talking about their exciting national coverage that they're going to be doing tomorrow night. So anyway, I'm joined over at the tech booth right now by Jody and by Luke. And guys, let's get this party started, shall we? All right. So first of all, it's the day of before the election. It's like we've kind of been leading for all of the crazy stuff for 2020 has been leading up to this moment.
Yeah.
It's the calm before the storm.
It really is. It's like everything's been leading up to this.
I guess it's not really the calm before the storm. We're in the eye of the storm.
I think so.
We're in the eye of the storm.
Or we're at the beginning stages of it, whatever. But there's a lot of things that people are kind of freaking out about. What if one side doesn't accept the, and what have you, and if they're going to fight. And listen, I told the church yesterday, because we pastor, I said, it is the church's time. And the church are the ones that are supposed to have authority over things that are going to, and we need to stand up and really, put our faith to work here. So let's do that. This is our time to shine. So
is.
let's get out
Yes,
there
it is.
and vote tomorrow, and don't live in fear about what's going to happen and that kind of thing. Let us have a great day.
Yeah,
All right.
Let's live in faith.
absolutely, Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
All right, so Jody, what's going on in the world today?
Well, I want to actually pass it over to Luke. Tell us what today is.
Dia de los Muertos.
Yes.
Whoa, now that sounds,
It sounds so pretty.
it does sound pretty. It's the Day of the Dead,
Day
is that
of the
correct? Yeah,
Dead.
it sounds pretty, and some folks would have a real
Hard time with that.
hard time
Yeah, they
with it
would.
because it's almost like, oh, you're giving. This is the day you remember your ancestors that have
Yes.
passed on.
Yeah.
How many of you saw Coco?
Oh yeah, great movie.
Yes, one of my
Oh, man.
favorites.
We were just talking about that.
We
Yeah.
were.
It's such
I
a
love
cute
that
little
show.
movie.
Yeah, it's
Movie.
not all about really going to the spirit world and them
No.
coming here. I mean, I know there's some people that believe that. Really, it is a day to remember.
Yes, and they really, I've heard different stories. They really do celebrate it, and it's a big celebration.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's,
some people get really into it. We were talking about all the artwork and everything. It's so
I
beautiful.
love it.
Yeah.
It is. It's
It's
beautiful.
very cultural, and
is.
it is a very beautiful imagery of the Mexican culture, especially. I know there are other Hispanic cultures that celebrate this as well. So
Yeah.
it's a good day today. I know that some folks go to the cemeteries, decorate. In
Yeah.
America, we'd call it Memorial Day.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
same
exactly.
kind of deal.
Same thing.
So,
So-
happy Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yes. Dia de los Muertos. I love saying that.
All right. What else is going on?
It's also National Deviled Egg Day.
Ooh.
It is getting into that season.
I was
isn't
going
it,
to
where-
say it is definitely getting into the
Yeah.
season where, you make your list for family gatherings and who's bringing what, and there's always at least 2 people bringing deviled eggs.
What are the things that people always bring? Deviled eggs, green bean casserole, right?
Uh-huh.
Mashed potatoes,
Sometimes stuffing.
sometimes stuffing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yes, green beans. Some people are bringing macaroni and cheese.
Oh,
Sure, yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
staple.
Well, you know what? And I know that Thanksgiving is right around the corner. We
Right.
don't want to jump the gun here.
No,
but,
we don't.
But my little cousin Courtney, who watches a lot of our episodes, she does this sweet potato casserole with
So
pecan
good.
crust on top.
Ooh.
I'm not a big sweet potato fan, but that stuff right there is fattening
It is.
and sweet
I love sweet
and
potatoes.
delicious. So,
I love sweet potatoes. They just take so long to make. You know what I mean?
yeah. Anyway, it is. What day was it? What was it again?
It was
it's
Deviled Egg Day.
Deviled Egg Day. It's
Yes.
that time
Love
of year.
deviled
So,
eggs.
do you like deviled eggs? Let us know in the comments below as you click the share button. today.
Yeah. Yeah,
All right.
it's also Job Action Day. Okay, so what that means is, and I would encourage people to leave a great job, because there's great employees are hard to
Sure,
come by sometimes.
sure.
But this does say it is a day that if you are unsatisfied in your job,
Today's the day to start looking.
do something about it. So
You might
yeah.
want to check, make sure Luke's not surfing
Yeah.
on his phone right now.
Yeah, no. We're gonna take his phone away. So yeah, it's that day. It's a Job Action Day. So it's the first Monday in November. It's also National Ohio Day.
Oh yes,
Ohio.
Mondays are the
Yes.
state's days. Happy Ohio Day. I
Ohio
grew up
Day.
right across the river
You
from the
did.
most southern point of Ohio.
Yes.
Get this. Here's the name for the most southern point of Ohio. You ready? South Point.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
South Point, Ohio.
Ohio.
Ironton, Coal Grove, that entire district and that
Yes.
whole area right there, Portsmouth, or Portsmouth as we call it back
Yeah.
then. All those areas right along the Ohio River there, right across the river. Grew up over there. It's beautiful country down there.
Yeah.
So
It is. It
Happy
really is.
Ohio Day. I know it is a very important state in this upcoming election. So
Yep.
we say shout out to the Buckeyes today.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah.
Couple of cool things that are in you should be aware of. Tomorrow, being the election day, there are all kinds of free deals for free food.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, they want people to be ready
Yes.
for their election. So you can go by if you have Krispy Kreme in your area. Krispy Kreme's giving away a free donut for those that are out voting.
Yep.
McDonald's is also giving away free food tomorrow for those who are going to be standing in line and getting their coffee and everything ready to go. And then Planet Fitness is actually offering a free workout tomorrow.
Oh, awesome.
So I'd like to really kind of deal with the stress.
That's cool.
I'm sure they're going to want you to, check out their facilities.
And sign something.
And so, somebody sent me you just take your little I voted sticker in there.
Oh.
And, work off the stress.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a free workout and a massage.
Oh, come on.
You get a
If
massage?
you do it, you take your sticker in there, and they'll give you a free workout and a massage, and that goes all the way till next Tuesday, the 8th.
Oh, my
Go
word.
get like a roll of the I voted stickers.
That's
All right,
true.
just keep going in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also
That's my way.
on Election Day is going to be National Sandwich Day.
Oh.
Which we won't be on tomorrow.
No.
But we are
That's right.
just talking about that, and that's why there's a lot of restaurants that are going to be offering discounts and specials, sub specials and stuff like that.
I love a good sandwich.
Yeah, so all right. Some other cool stuff. Lyft is giving 50% rides tomorrow, so if you need to get to the polling place, you don't have a car or whatever, Lyft, if you have Lyft in your area, use the code 2020VOTE, and you can get out there to that, all right? Yeah. Also, that's the same thing for Uber. Uber's offering 50% rides to the polls tomorrow. And then,
what else? Wawa has free coffee.
Yes, that's
Tuesday.
today, too, right? Or tomorrow?
No, it's tomorrow. It's free coffee Tuesday.
Okay, well, I was going to say Big B Coffee is also doing that as well. Boston Market is giving away free food tomorrow. Lots of things. Chili's is going to be giving away the Presidente margarita for $5.
They're trying to keep everybody happy.
Well, and plus they need the business to come back in the door. So
yeah, they do.
All right. So anyway, that's some cool stuff.
That's awesome.
Let me say this: on this day in 1983, Martin Luther King Jr. Federal holiday was declared on this day in 1983, and then also today was the day that the spruce goose actually took off and flew. And I know you grew up down the road from it there.
I did.
In Southern California. The spruce goose was an all plywood version of a giant airplane built by the infamous Howard Hughes. So that happened today in 1937, 38, 37. I don't know. Sometime. It was this day back in those days. All right, back in that time. All right. Let's jump in with our guest today as we take the time to expand your search. My guest today is the executive director at Kenneth Copeland Ministries. He's the executive producer of Revival Time Radio. He is a senior executive pastor at Eagle Mountain Church. And he's my long-lost cousin. I'm just kidding. Actually, we're not related. We it's going to be hard to understand that. But I'm so excited. Right in the middle of their rehearsal for tomorrow night's election coverage, I have Gene Bailey joining me on the program today. Gene, so good to have you with us. Wow, look at that, man.
Yeah, Brent, good to see you, man. Good to be here.
It's been a little while. We haven't really got to see each other. I see you online a lot and on TV a lot, but so good to have you here, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thanks.
To talk.
I'm sure as a Bailey, you owe me some money somewhere.
Somewhere down the road, I'm sure. So first of all, let's just catch up real quick. How's things been during COVID there? I know that there's been a lot of action in the Fort Worth area, but tell us about what it's been like there.
Yeah, well, as far as COVID goes, I mean, we've been busier than ever. I'd really like to have a break, because once COVID hit, we took the ministry here took a little bit of a hit from some people. We had to kind of rearrange what we did, but television, radio, everything in the media went in hyper gear, and we're going faster and harder than ever before. So it has not been a slowdown for us in the least, but everybody's doing well, and we're glad to be on the air.
Now, as the church, Eagle Mountain Churches, they've been back for quite a while, right, to live in-person services?
Yeah, the church has been having services back. We are, of course, doing our social distancing and encouraging masks, and we went ahead and went to 2 services on Sunday. So that's been doing well. Everybody's back. It seems I hate to say it's the new norm, but for now we're back, and enjoying people coming back to church.
I know that you took some time for me when we were trying to decide exactly what the steps were, and I messaged you on Facebook, and I just wanted to tell you I really appreciate the advice. It was really good for us to help us make our decisions going forward. Let's before we get into tomorrow night and what you guys are going to be doing, let's talk a little bit about your career. You've been doing this for a long time. You've been in TV. In fact, we met when you were working doing the TV production for the Hagans at Rhema, right. And you've been doing this for a long time. Tell us a little bit. How did you get started doing this kind of thing?
Well, I came from prison. No, it started back in, actually, the first introduction was 1971 in Atlanta, Georgia. I went to my parents drugged me to this Christian television station. CBN had just bought Channel 46 in Atlanta, and I think they bought the studios for $1, and they needed phone operators, and they drugged me along with them, and I went, and I was enthralled by the cameras and the lights, but the rest of it was kind of boring to me, actually. But it planted a seed, and really the power was in the control room. I was watching that really hard. So that was really the first. And then in PTL in 1977, 78, I went to school there. Actually, they're one of their the very first year of Heritage University at the time. It changed names later. And from there, got hired on, was there for about 10 years until I came here. So I went through everything at the PTL, all the good stuff and all the bad stuff.
That's so funny. Our paths have crossed then before because we were partners. So I was there every Christmas and every summer we were there.
Oh, it was huge. It was great. And I got to tell you, I miss that because nothing has taken its place quite like the park and everything that, of course, happened there at Heritage USA. It was a blast.
Sure was.
People came to us. We didn't travel as much because everybody came to us, and it was great. A great place to see people, believers coming together. And so we had a good time. And of course, then I left there in 1988 and came here for a few years and got the television, the daily program started, along with Teri Pearson's and now Pastor George Pearson's, and we got everything going and took the ministry with a daily program, and then I kind of went from there. From 6 years later, left and went out on my own. Helped a lot of ministries get started on television and media. Did a lot of third world traveling, got stuck in a coup in Africa and thrown in jail in Africa. And so I had the real grassroots experience.
You got to tell us a little bit about that, though. You got to give a little bit more than
well, it was West Africa. It was actually in Conakry, Guinea. We were shooting stories with missionaries and for the Christian Missionary Alliance. And while we were there, what happened was they decided to stage a demonstration at the airport. Well, that went so well, the military decided, well, let's just take over the country. And that's really about as much planning as it was. And so we had to hide out for about 2 weeks. And now this is back in the early 90s. So there's, the technology was a fax machine. So once I got to a fax machine, I sent word back to the States that I'm okay, everything's all right. And of course, nobody here in the U.S. knew anything about what was going on, but we literally had to hide out and escape in that. So that was one trip. So we left that part in West Africa, went to Burkina Faso and over to another country, and I thought we were in the clear. And this is back when cameras were like this, and so. So I got thrown in jail for capturing people's soul on camera and putting it. And so I found myself in a jail cell. And something about me, I just don't blend real well in Africa.
Yeah, I could see that.
Some countries I can blend. There was no blending. So I was there for about 12 hours, something like that. And I got bailed out by the missionary. Thank you. And it was good to know that my bail was a New Testament and a Coke.
Wow.
And that That's what got me out. Not the full 10-ounce Coke, a 6-ounce. So, you know, you know what your life is worth suddenly. So it was.
Well, I mean, at least
thankfully
there's no value in Scripture. I mean, they're just untouchable in value. So
that's right.
You're priceless,
That's right.
Gene. You're priceless.
Yes, there you go. Thank you. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about Revival Time TV, and then we'll move into the election coverage tomorrow.
Yeah, well, Revival Radio TV actually started back in 2015, end of 2014. There was a real move of God happening here at Eagle Mountain Church, and I was talking with Pastor George and Pastor Teri. We were talking about, you know, different revivals that had gone through history. So I went to some of the crew and I said, hey, we had just launched an internet radio station. And I said, let's do a few shows on revival and call it Revival Radio. And so we started that. Well, let's at least stick a camera up so people on the web can see it. Well, that grew into a set. And then anyway, that we had to change the name to Revival Radio TV because then we went on the network in July of 2015 when that launched, BVOVN back then. And it's been great. We cover revivals, what's revival fires then and now, and as well as we've gone back to the Reformation, stories on that, uncovering stories that you never knew existed, which is kind of funny because when we started, I thought, well, how many revivals is there? 10? And I was quite ignorant of what has happened throughout history. And of course, now today, we've got all these new things happening. And so that's still my heart is revival and what God's doing. And now we're on the brink of the Great Awakening. We're stepping over into that now. So I'm glad to see what God's doing now.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I was just getting ready to ask you, where do you see this, the revival heading? And do you see trends through it when you study things like that? Where do you see it right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And Brent, the interesting thing about this was actually a comment from our friend David Barton, who said, history shows that most people don't know they're in the midst of a revival until 50 years later.
Oh, wow.
And I found that really odd. But as you look through history, it's really easy to be in the middle of something and not know what's really going on. And of course, we think of revival, we think of Azusa, and that's about as far back as we want to think of, or Pensacola and what happened there, which are definitely outpourings and revivals. But the reality is, when you go back through history, you can see, you start overlaying what was happening in the country at the time, whether it be civil unrest, or even recently, I just, put two and two together. It took me a while I don't know why, but anyway, in 1918, there was a huge pandemic, the Spanish flu, that took out 675,000 people. What was going on in 1918? We were in the middle of World War I, and we had Woodrow Wilson was president, and we had an election that year. So churches were shut down in 1918. They couldn't have services. This all sounds familiar, but yet what happened in 1918, by the end of the year, revivals broke out in churches around the country, as well as one in California. This lady named Amy Semple McPherson really burst on the scene. And so what led up after that was the great tent revivals. Obviously, Amy Semple McPherson, what happened to her, with everything from stretcher Saturdays and people getting healed. I mean, that really paved the way to the next great tent revivals and what we saw, healing revivals of that time. So yeah, it really is. You can overlay history and see how things happen. So all of that points to what we're dealing with right now, coming up to the election tomorrow. This is a revival of sorts. You don't think of it because there's not an altar and people coming to get saved necessarily. But listen, you're seeing a resurgence in churches and pastors across America and really around the world. People are standing up and going, wait a minute. This is, we have to decide who we are as believers and who we are as a pastor, and start seeing God do things in our world now. And that's what we're seeing. And I believe we are there. We're seeing a great awakening. We've already stepped into it. Our toes been stepped over, and now we're going to see the manifestation of it.
Amen. I'm in total agreement with that. All right. We just got a few minutes left. Tomorrow night is a big day here in America, and you guys are going to be on covering the election there on the Victory Network. And just tell us a little bit about I know you're prepping right now, you're rehearsing, but What was the heart behind that? I know this started a few years ago. What
Yeah,
was
it actually
Brother
started
Copeland's
in
vision with that?
2012. We started covering the elections, and it was. I would never want to show you some of the video, but we did a good job back then, and we've covered every presidential election and midterm up to 2016. When we covered the presidential election, we were. A lot of people say they were the first. I think we really were the first to actually call the election. And so the heartbeat here is to have election coverage in the spirit of faith. But this hasn't been this year. It's been all the coverage up to the election tomorrow night, because what we're seeing is people aren't getting the news. Mainstream media is in the news as much as the media is, and it's about how they're not getting the full story. So what you're seeing here, we've been doing every day, every night. Like tonight, we'll be on with programming, live programming about what's coming up, what's really going on in the race. We'll show crowds that are really attending a Trump rally. Things you don't see, you will see on the Victory Channel and on America Stands. And of course, then tomorrow night we will cover the election and all the week. Whatever's happening, we're going to be there. Victory Channel is going to be there to cover in a spirit of faith what's really happening. So we've really ramped up. Brother Copeland this is his heartbeat, to cover the news and to cover this election, because this is who we're supposed to be as believers, as pastors, is to be involved. Because that's who we're supposed to. That's what God's called us to do. When he said go, he didn't say go, but don't go over there. He said go, and we're going to take over this 7 mountains and our mountain of influence in the media as well.
Amen. Now, as we wrap it up here, just speak to my audience real quick. There's a lot of people worried about everything that's going to happen. I know that we're people of faith, and we don't really necessarily subscribe to that, but just encourage everybody real quick.
Well, absolutely. Proverbs 29, verse 2. This is my scripture that I go to every time we're on the air. When the godly are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked are in power, they groan. Kind of sums it all up right there. But listen, we come from a place of faith. And listen, the household of faith is going to be all right. We know that God's got this. Has been, the worst thing about the pandemic has not been COVID-19. It's been the fear of it. So as we've had all of this training in faith, and I say all of us because no matter what line or denomination you've been on, you've been taught faith. Now it's time to stand up and walk in it. So we're going to walk in it. We have every reason to believe. If you pay attention to any prophecy out there, this is our finest hour. We're about to step into our finest hour in the church. Amen. And we're about to see that we're harvesting souls and seeing people won. So be encouraged. Stir yourself up, because listen, this is the believer's voice, and the voice of victory. We all can stand up and take hold of it.
Folks, this is Gene Bailey, and I'm so grateful for your time today. If you'd like to watch tomorrow, or tonight even, you can get the Victory Network on many of your local cable channels, or on DirecTV or Dish Network or any of those kind of things. Of course, it's also on the web, and you can flip your computer on to watch that as well. I think we're going to throw your information up on the screen there, Gene. There it is. If you want to follow along with Gene, it's revivalradiotv.com. Of course, Brother Copeland's ministry, kcm.org. You can follow him on Facebook at Bailey.Gene, on Instagram at Gene Bailey, and of course on Vimeo, Revival Radio TV. Gene, thank you so much for your time today. Have a great broadcast tomorrow night. We'll be watching, so God bless, and give our love to everybody down there.
I sure will. We'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, take care. Folks, that's Gene Bailey, and now let's take a moment to stop for directions. Here we are. We're standing on the precipice of another election. We're standing here and we're looking out and we're wondering. I know a lot of folks are kind of curious. What's going to happen? Who's going to win? Is my candidate going to win? Is my guy going to win? And the thing about it is twofold. You have to first get out and vote. This is not something that you should sit back and wait and rely on the rest of the world for. You have a part to play in this. That's the big key. You need to get out and do what Daniel chapter 11:32 tells us to do. It says, the people who know their God shall stand firm and take action. That's the English Standard Version. Then in Galatians chapter 6, verse number 10, in the modern English version, it says this: as we have opportunity, let us do good. If you sit back and you don't vote, you're not going to fulfill the plan of God for your life. And you think, wow, Brent, how can you say that? Listen, you're a citizen of this country. You need to participate. The second thing is, Paul wrote to Timothy, he said, God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Regardless of what happens in the election, if your guy wins, if he doesn't win, don't live in fear for the future. This is the church's time to be here on this earth, and it's our time to shine. So rise up, church. Stop living in fear. Walk forward and watch God move through you, regardless of who's in office. That's going to wrap it up for the show today. I'm so thankful for Gene Bailey for coming and being with us today, taking the time out of their rehearsal schedule right there at Eagle Mountain and Kenneth Copeland Ministries. If you want to tune into that, you can sure do that by going on the web to kcm.org, or if you have the Victory Channel on your local cable, you can watch. You'll see unbiased coverage, honest coverage that'll help you to sort out what's going on there. My thanks again to Jody and Luke. Another great show, guys. Appreciate you both so much. For all of you who are watching, we thank you all so much. Share this podcast, get the word out, and get out and vote tomorrow. All right? I hope you found what you were looking for today as you took the time to expand your search and stop for directions. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for joining us today. Connect with us on @ExpandingYourSearch on Facebook and Instagram, and @ExpandingSearch on Twitter. Relive any of our episodes on YouTube. We're available wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can also download the Direction Ministries app on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Take some time today to expand your search and stop for directions.